I'm not sure what to do with my hand.
And now we are live on Off the Record Podcast. Little oops on my part. So unfortunately, we did not have Grover or Rob tonight because they have other things and couldn't make it tonight. So I have Josh from Tragic who's going to be filling in as my special guest co-host.
You're welcome.
glad you got to see me.
Yeah.
Tonight we actually have a really special episode. So as most of you guys know, we just wrapped up a Toys for Tots benefit at Legacy at the Riverfront last weekend. And holy shit, that was an amazing show. And you played in two bands, actually.
Yeah, it was exhausting.
So before we bring on these two special guests that we have, I do have a question for you. What was it like going back to playing bass and over it?
It was really fun. I haven't played bass in a long time. This is my first instrument I picked up when I was 13 was a bass. So I love it.
It sounded awesome. The bass still sounds really good too.
Yeah. It was fun. It was cool.
It was.
It was a really great show. Like
that was
all around really awesome freaking show.
I agree. All the bands killed it. And it was really cool seeing you back up on stage playing bass too. So first up, the first guest we have that's going to hop on is Jared from X1015. Hi, Jared.
I got it.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I was starting to get worried after the Halloween Jambacue that maybe you lost my business card, maybe because
no, actually, it was funny after the gym queue, and I took your business card. I put it in my wallet, and then I was like, every time I'd open my wallet, I'm like, I need to call him and get him on. And then we started talking about this Toys for Tots, and I'm like, well, X is a sponsor. I'm like, there's my in, yeah. Jared. I need you in on Off the Record.
Yep, and here we are now.
We're gonna have to make this a regular thing.
Oh, I'm down for it.
Yes, that's what I like to hear. One of the cool things that I really enjoyed about the night was I got to talk to you for a little bit outside the show, and you gave me like a lot of really good insight. So thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
But I loved having the conversation. Before we bring in the next special guest real quick, what was your favorite part of the night?
I enjoy always seeing Stoneheads. I've been a fan of those guys since the first time I saw them was actually at the locals only show at Legacy.
Okay.
And, those guys they're all super young and they're all killing it.
Oh yeah.
They did a great job.
They did.
I really enjoyed Over It because the vocalist was killing it. And after his set, I was like, hey guys, do you have a social I can tag? He was like, no, we just got started. We don't have an Instagram yet. And I was like, okay, when you do, let me know. And Loud Ass Country Band was really entertaining.
They were.
Yeah, those guys coming in and kind of in the middle of a few different heavier sets. It was a nice little, intermission almost.
Yeah.
And everybody was really into it. And I always enjoy breaking it up a little bit like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And they played.
And of course, Tragic, Yeah.
Of course, Tragic. And you're right, they did play Freebird.
Yeah, they played Freebird. I was like, what? Okay, it's just what everybody says at every show.
There's always some drunk asshole in the back that's like, play Freebird. And they're
every
challenge
time.
Accepted.
But they actually played it. It was pretty cool.
When they played David Allen Co., that took me back to like North Carolina because my old bar I used to hang out at all the time played that all the time. And I think I really came unglued when they played that. I was like, wait, I know this song. And I know what you're supposed to say between the lyrics. It's a
great crowd participation song. Gets everybody 100%. Fired up. I think that was their first song. So that was a great way for them to open their set, get everybody fired up.
Oh, I agree. I 100% agree. So we have one more special guest, and it is the man behind the whole thing that put this together. And of course, you guys probably know him, but we have Shane.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Shane. Okay, so I have to ask you, how crazy and chaotic was it putting this show together?
It's pretty chaotic. It was a working process for a while. Nobody even knew about it before we ever even announced it. Andrew did a lot of the legwork with the bands and stuff. I got some bands, he got some bands, and really the stuff that come together is towards the end of the deal. And once you got the bands all set up, I mean, it's nothing more doing set times and stuff, which Andrew was a little late to the party on that one a little bit. But it's trying to figure out who was coming on, who wasn't coming on, and trying to set it up where you kind of went it easy and got heavier through the night. and also to get people the opportunity to sing. You know, if you run low on your time, people want to next guy and just so forth and so on. So it was just getting that all scenario set up. But the rest of it was the 2 days prior to is when the shit starts.
And you guys were at the venue from what, like early in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah. See, I got off work that night. Of course, I was up at 5 o'clock every morning. So I went to work. Right after that, I went to Legacy. Basically, we had karaoke. It was off the record karaoke event. During the process, while you guys probably wasn't paying me no mind, I was setting things up and getting stuff set up prior to the show. So getting stuff staged. I was loading ice in ice bins, backup ice in certain places, getting the rails put up. Just trying to do as much pre-prep as possible for Saturday morning. And then Michelle was back there getting all her stuff together that she does, getting the girls squared away. And pretty much everybody was there except for a couple of the bartenders. Sam was there, and we were all getting after it. So 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll pull in the driveway. So
wow. And what time did you guys end up leaving?
Well,
so it was a late night.
Yeah, I got in a little bit of trouble. I was kind of excited about I didn't want to do karaoke. I wanted to shut it down when the show was over. My expectation was 12:30, clean up, go home, and be home by 2:30. That was my woo. I was going to be happy. Well, 2:30, and I'm getting ready to shut everything down, and Michelle hollers at me, says, "No, we're not shutting shit down. These girls want to sing."
Oh, Lord.
So I think I pulled in the driveway at 5 something.
Ooh, man.
Yeah. So,
wow.
You know, Dave Rowe, Kurt, Bobby. There was a couple people just hanging out and just chilling, listening to them and watching them pretty much the whole time. I think Dave finally went home too, and so it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Jared has told us about what his favorite parts of the night were. So what has been your favorite part of the night from the Toys for Tots?
Probably the end when I looked at the boxes.
Yes.
And noticed the amount of toys that was in there, and I was getting a bunch of cash donations too. And Joe Crow was coming to me. This guy gives some money, and I was back and forth with that, and then probably nobody realized, but I dipped out there for probably an hour. I had to go to my company Christmas party, so I rolled in there real quick and flew out and came back. And so, really, I mean, I just enjoy mingling with everybody, seeing everybody, having a good time. Things went pretty well. I didn't see, but I had one little deal that I had to deal with, but nothing major. It was nothing major at all, really.
I think we all know what that was if you were there that night.
I think Jared and I were standing outside and we were like, oh.
That guy again.
It's always one. It's always
one. There's always one in the crowd.
Always.
He was like Spider-Man, though.
Yeah, man. It's just got to be constantly moving in that building. There's so many. There's just so many places for people to go. But really, truthfully, and also, probably when Lucas took the stage, to see him as that was a big deal for him. He's played a couple shows in the pub for us just to do, a little acoustic deal. He opened up for something. I don't remember what it was, Michelle. Nothing huge, but that was something big for him. And he was nervous as a cat shit in a peach seat. And I just told him, I said, man, enjoy it. I say, ain't nobody going to judge you. Nobody cares. They say something to you, tell them to fuck off,
100%.
Enjoy it and have a good time. And he did. It He impresses me because I mean he taught himself how to do all that stuff in a short period of time. I mean,
Yes.
it isn't like he's been doing it for like 3 years, 4 years. I mean, he just jumped in and decided he wanted to do it. And
Yeah.
he likes the kind of music that I really gravitate to mainly. And then it kind of round up with rock. You know, rock is the same way, very professional kid.
He is.
And he knows where he's going. He knows what he wants to do. And I kind of told Lucas, you need to kind of watch that. That's what you need to follow. And it's what you need to pay attention to him and see what he's doing and kind of duplicate that.
Absolutely, 100%. And on that topic, Jared, like coming from the radio world, what would be your best advice that you can give these kids? Because Lucas is like, I believe he's 15.
Yeah.
And he's extremely talented. Rock is like maybe 19, and they're both like,
I don't think he's 19. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both really talented. What type of advice would you give them for wanting to follow in those bigger footsteps?
Discoverability is going to be their biggest thing. So whatever they can do to be online terminally, if you have to, have a social account for every kind of video social platform that there is. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Make any kind of account. Twitch. Make any YouTube. Make any kind of account. Have a channel made. Put your content out there. Even if your content is not necessarily doing well on one platform, it might be doing good on another, and cultivate that consistently. Like do something every day. You don't have to put out your absolute best stuff every day, but if you want to be focused and featured on the algorithm likes to see you being consistent, and they will show you if you're consistent. And if you go 3-5 days a week, you're killing yourself. You got to be able to be consistent with it, put something out there. And eventually the right person is going to see you. Your numbers are going to go up, and that's where your big ticket's going to come.
I agree.
That's the shittiest part of the job.
Yeah.
It really is. There's so many. You got Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. Like, oh my gosh, it's so.
Yeah.
I'm older now, so I hate doing it. Like I tell the guys, y'all got to do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, for a teenager, it's gonna come second nature to them because they grew up with it. It's part of their everyday life anyway. But it's just putting yourself out there and make a silly, stupid video every day if you can. Doesn't necessarily have to be you absolutely shredding it. That's great, but it doesn't have to be you doing that. Just a lot of the times you can get noticed on a stupid, silly video, and people will subscribe to you because they want to see more silly, stupid videos, and then you hit them with the good stuff, and that's what they stay for. Yeah. There's kind of like a cheat code, and I'm being somewhat ironic when I say this. Step 1, be attractive. Step 2, don't be unattractive. If you are an attractive person, you're going to have a leg up on everybody else just because human nature, we want to look at attractive people, but you're not going to get people to stay if that's all you have to offer. Right. You're going to have a leg up, but people are just going to bounce as soon as they're done with you. When people find you for whatever reason, that's not necessarily why they stay with you. So if they find you, that's great, but then you got to get them to stay, and that's when you hit them with your real talent.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think that when it comes to musicians, I think TikTok is probably one of the bigger platforms because there's so many people that get noticed on TikTok. And next thing you know, we hear the songs on the radio. And
TikTok used to not be like that when it first started. And now it kind of is one of those sources of information that record labels and radio companies actually do look to, like who is trending, who's performing well. Like when YouTube music first came out a decade plus ago, and you would have artists that would have 1 million views, but they wouldn't get any kind of national airplay. That's changed. I mean, the charts on YouTube used to be just kind of like a running joke, and then they become like an actual metric that record labels would look at and see how you're performing. And you can bundle all those streams together. Let's say you got, just throwing out easy numbers to remember. But if you had like 1,000 streams on YouTube and 1,000 on TikTok, and then you had 10,000 on Instagram, you can say like, hey, we've got over 10,000 streams across our platforms. You don't have to get down right into the like, oh, I have this many streams here. I have this many streams here. You can say you've got like over all streaming platforms, and you can combine those. And that's a big number that record labels like to look at.
Wow. It's crazy. What was that stupid song on TikTok that was everywhere and then it came on the radio? You used to sing it as a joke, and then the dude actually made it, and it was a stupid song.
Yeah, I don't.
It was some song, and that's when that happened, because he would sing it as a joke, just around the house, and I'm like, I hate that song, and I hear it everywhere because it's all over TikTok, and next thing you know, it's on the radio. I'm like, I can't escape this guy. Like, I can't escape that song ever.
I know there was the Oh No No song. That's a great one.
God, yeah, that one too. This one was something about choke. I don't know. I can't remember it now. It was a while ago, but I could never escape it. It was all over TikTok. And then I would try to look up something stupid to change my algorithm so it would stop popping up. And it didn't work. It was everywhere. People were using it for everything. And I hated it. But it's crazy that has now become a place where people get recognized. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I just saw this band 2 weeks ago on TikTok, and now they're on the radio. Like, it's crazy that it works that way.
That kind of worked out kind of strange for I'm sure everybody in the last few months has heard of the pop artist Chapel Roan. She's kind of really blown up. She had a lot of shows booked like a year and a half in advance in much smaller venues and bars and things like that, the local community theaters. And then she just blew up on social and on Instagram and TikTok, and she got huge. Like, she could sell out arenas now, 20,000 seat arenas, or be part of a tour on a football stadium tour. But before she got big and blew up, she had already booked all these small venues. So all these small theaters and dive bars and things like that she had booked the last, 6 months, 9 months, she's been performing at all these small venues, and it's been like standing room only. Security at the door because everybody's trying to get in to see her. And this dive bar that seats, 400 people maybe.
Wow. That's insane. That's crazy.
That's how fast it can turn. You get discovered by the right person.
Yeah, there's a lot of unfortunate artists too, though. You're like, really? We gotta listen to this guy now?
Yeah. That's true. That is very true.
I want to give a big shout out though to Pretty Rejects too. Shar,
yes,
Shar was unreal as usual. Listen to her in karaoke. She's phenomenal. She's got a phenomenal voice. But I distinctly remember being out front doing something or another, and all I could hear through the trees is Shar going through the trees. I'm like, God, man, you could probably hear her all the way on the other side of town.
I know. She's a powerhouse.
Oh God,
she is a powerhouse, and it's just like you said. Like, I've seen her at karaoke, and I was like, "Damn, girl can sing."
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I wasn't there early enough to be able to catch her set. But I saw the videos, and I'm like, I know that the videos didn't do her vocals justice.
No, it was unreal. I mean, and that they had just, well, hell, Josh, how long they've been doing it now? Probably maybe 6 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're actually practiced like next door to us.
Yeah, so they haven't really, and they've been having problems with band members the whole time. This person's in, this person's out, and trying to get together because we wanted to get them on the locals only show, and they wanted to, but they could never get together long enough to practice long enough to be able to be, to put it on. And finally, she just said, "Screw it, we're going to go on the Toys for Tots show, Bleeder Blister." So, and it was a good call though, good call.
Absolutely, and I heard nothing but great things.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but great things. I would say, I think that my favorite part of the night, I have to agree with you, Shane, is I would walk by throughout the night from beginning to end, and I would look at the boxes that you had for the toys, and I was like, oh, there's some toys, and then I'd walk some more, and I'm like, okay, cool, there's more toys, and I'm like, holy shit, that filled up fast. Like, it was crazy the amount of donations. What was the final total number?
It was 6 boxes plus. It was 150 toys total, 6 boxes, and $800 in cash donations.
Wow.
So,
wow.
and that goes back to and like Andrew put out, and I've said it numerous times, but that goes out to the bands, man. That is huge. That's huge participation by the community, by the artists here in town, and to me, that's the biggest part, and it makes me kind of proud that people want to come do it, and I've already had asked people call me last week, all week long. Hey, I'm doing it next year. And I said, well, next year we'll just make it bigger. We'll just keep making it bigger,
Hell yeah.
And we made mistakes, and there's mistakes that were made on our end, and I'll change it up a little bit, but that's part of it, I mean, no show goes 100%. You always have something happen, so.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have some comments. We have Dylan from This Dying Breed. He said, "What's up, everyone?"
What's up, Dylan?
And Greg said something, but it's a bunch of emojis. Hi, Greg from This Dying Breed. With a bunch
They
of
were great too. I loved seeing those guys like get in the crowd during their set.
Oh, yeah.
Get in the pit with the bass. That was great. That was
Yeah.
pretty ballsy. Something
Yeah.
could always go wrong, but that was great.
Yeah, they're good old boys.
Oh yeah.
He says, next year I'm there.
Absolutely.
You already got one, Shane.
See, I already had this idea too. I wish I had thought of this idea before we got so far into planning this one. But for next year, we do another Toys for Tots donation at Legacy, and I think it would be a great idea to have the people that are bringing in their donations. They can kind of like list what is their favorite band, who's the band they're coming to support that night, and then whatever band brings in the most toy donations, they get some kind of prize.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good idea. That is a really good idea.
I'm gonna buy a lot of toys.
Yeah, get a lot of people buying some GI Joes and Ninja Turtles and stuff to donate.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was really neat when I took it yesterday, because I took them up there yesterday afternoon. And Andrew, actually, it was kind of weird. I went and got the boxes probably a month ago, maybe. I don't know, somewhere like that. Anyway, I put them up, and I had them on the stage. Remember on the podcast, there's a whole podcast. I had them up on the stage or hovering around. And Andrew's dating this girl, Sarah, and they went to this little gathering down there in Crawfordville. I think it's a Lions Club or something down there. Anyway, Mark was telling me about it, and they talked about it. So Andrew got some more boxes. Well, he's like, man, he forgot he even gave me boxes. The guys are just, he's all over the place too. He's kind of reminds me of myself when I'm getting another 15 years on me. So he was excited. He was actually impressed, because his words were that, because when I told him originally I needed more than 3, he gave me 3. I said, man, I'm gonna need more than 3. And he's like, you start with 3. And I was like, well, shit, that ain't gonna work. And anyway, we brought back with a 6, and he was like, dude, that was unreal for the first time. He said, I don't remember having something like that with the first time. And I said, well, I told you that it was going to be big. And he goes, I got you. So, next year, I mean, we're going to be a little bit better prepared for that too, as well. So, and I probably should have put the donation box out a little bit sooner than I did, but I had a feeling that we were going to run out of room, is what I thought. So,
Yeah.
I think next year we might take a donation box and maybe put it up in our studios, just so like if anybody wants to come by the studios and drop it off, then we'll bring it over to Legacy the night of the show and just add it to the list of stuff.
Yeah, and I know he told me right when I was leaving that he had a couple of churches and a few people that were actually going to come and grab some that day, and they were in dire need. So it was huge, man. It warmed my heart, because I know it's going to the right purpose.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. And we do have Grover in the chat, and he says, great weekend. Enjoyed my time there. Everyone was welcoming.
Good deal.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, this was Grover's never been to Tallahassee. And when I first heard about the Toys for Tots, I'm like, so Grover, that means you're flying into Tallahassee, right? And it started as a joke until he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, now you're being serious. Now we're talking about this and we're going to make it happen. So he showed up, and I was so excited that his first time in Tallahassee, he got to see the Toys for Tots and got to see all the bands on stage, because I don't think there was one band that took the stage that day or night and didn't kill it. Like, everybody was on point, and there were so many people like just sitting up at the bar. People were walking by, and a band was unloading, getting off stage, and somebody walked by and they go, damn, they were good. And then that same person would come by and be like, damn, that band was good too. And then that same person walked by a third time and be like, that band was good too. So it's like it all around the music and the energy and everybody that was there. It was just an amazing night. Like, overall, it was just a really great night. And I'm happy that Grover got to be there for that show particularly, because I think that's a good way to initiate him into the Tallahassee scene. So
Well,
So
man, we
you're
still
saying
got
he's the secret sauce to all the success of this stuff.
there you
He has to be
go.
here for it.
and we still got a lot of bands we can still put on there, and I really wish we could have put everybody on there, because I didn't want nobody to feel left out, and I know there was, but the Jam BQ was just before it, and we really didn't want to stack it right back up with the same, sets as the Jam BQ. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. I mean, Landon, I would have loved to have them up there. I mean, and he also played 2 weeks prior to that too. He opened up for the show a couple weeks prior to that. So, long story short, it will definitely be bigger next year. I don't see why we probably won't run potentially both stages from 12 o'clock on, and just run them both all day long. So,
Oh, that would be amazing. That'd be a huge show.
well, there'll be a lot of mad people at me, and me and Andrew both be in trouble probably, because between Shaggy running his head off, and it's a lot, man. It's a lot to put together. And that group of people at Legacy. I mean, Andrew, Shaggy, all the girls, Michelle, on top. I mean, everybody's got to be on top of it all the time, and because it is not. Nobody really knows what it's like until you get there in the back end of it, and considering that this is really only our second year into this, and we struggled the first time we had a big show. I mean, we didn't do bad. Nobody really noticed it. We knew it internally what we needed to do differently, but I mean, you pretty much can tell us what you want, and we can make it happen. I mean, and that's them girls already know. I go back there and I make my statements, and then next thing I know, they look like demonic women with their heads spinning around backwards. I said, "You guys, I'm out. I just leave them alone." they already know. So that makes it a lot more easy. Makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and I don't think that there was one time that I didn't see anybody that was a Legacy employee for the night that wasn't smiling. Like the bartenders, like if they were stressed, you wouldn't have been able to tell. And like I walked by Adriana and she gave me a big old like smile, and she's like, "Jane!" She came up and gave me a big old hug, and I was like, "Hey girl, what you doing?" She's like, "I gotta go back," and she like run back behind the bar, and I'd see Sam and she's like, "Oh, I gotta head over here," and she gave me a quick hug on her way out. But everybody was all smiles and happy to be there.
Poor Adriana, it was probably I think it was about midnight or so, maybe a little bit after, and she's like, "Pow, my feet are killing me," and she was in the back, and I said, "Get your ass up, let's go. We still got to go." And they were troopers, yeah, they were. I mean, because that's a long day. I mean, people don't. I mean, me and Michelle, Sam, and Andrew were there at 9, so the rest of them come in pretty early as well, about 11 o'clock or so, to get set up on their stations. I think Adriana was actually early too. She was, hell, I think she was there shortly after I was. So. The kudos. I mean, because that's a long day. I mean, them girls don't, and they're troopers. They don't bitch about it. They just roll with it, because they enjoy it just as much as everybody else does.
I like how they all coordinated their elf costumes.
Yes,
so they were very on theme for the evening.
They love that. And actually, they're madder than hell at me because I told Michelle she could do the podcast on the Legacy Ladies podcast, and I would wear a Santa outfit. Well, unfortunately, I didn't wear a Santa outfit. So they already ordered all their elf stuff. So and they like doing that. They like going with the theme and wearing stuff when it kind of goes with it. So it's kind of neat.
That was one of the first things Adriana said. She said Papa didn't wear a Santa costume.
Yeah, they were pissed off. It was a mutiny in the back room back there. I had to get the hell out of Dodge because they were pretty pissed off with me. So.
So, okay, I have to ask, where did the nickname come from?
Amanda. I don't really even know what the hell. I don't know. Amanda started that with loudmouth. She started that, and it just stuck. That's what they all started calling me. Yeah, they used to call me Dad, and then it went to Pow Pow. So I just roll with it. Just roll with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a good testament to that place, man. Like it's like that whole night, all day, all night, man. Like you didn't see anybody without a drink or had a hard problem getting a drink. Like all the girls are just moving, and you can tell they're enjoying themselves. Like like that whole environment, you built like a really good crew, man. And it's like every time we go there, like we feel welcome. It's a nice environment. You don't have to, you're going to go have a good time,
Really.
So that's a testament to what y'all built up there, man. It's a really good place and really good staff,
Thank you.
And we were honored to be for the Toys for Tots. That was really awesome. And like she said, every time I walked by those boxes, man, I was taking pictures and videos as it was getting bigger and bigger. I think I might have sent you some pictures, but that was cool, man. That's what it's all about, like straight community, rock, country. We had it all. Everybody got along. It was just flawless, man. It was a really awesome night for sure.
Well, I knew last year when we had the Christmas show last year, that was Chris kind of asked if we would do it. And of course, he wanted to put on the production to it and promote it. And I told him afterwards, I said, what, that's not for anybody else to do. That's ours. That's something that we need to do as legacy, and that's nobody's. This is our house. This is what we're going to do. And not that it's against anybody, but it's just need to be something that, when it's not yours, I mean, we're going to put 100% effort in all of it. It doesn't matter, but you put a little bit more detail into certain things when it is yours, and you make it your own. And all the girls made it their own. It meant something to them, and to me, that I think that's what kind of helps that whole situation as well. Like I said, it's not to downplay anybody else's promoted event, but it's just when it's as well as I do, it's your car. You're going to take better care of it than you are somebody else's car. You're going to do the basics that you have to do. So, and I wanted something for them to be proud about. You need to they can look back at themselves. If Legacy's there tomorrow or next year, they can go back and say, man, we did this Toys for Tots things, and this is what we've done. And it's good. It makes you feel good inside. So.
Absolutely. And real quick, shout out to your security team too, because they were eyes all over the place. They had, I don't know how many times I can say this, but there have been so many times that I've gone to other venues and I had walked out alone and I'm like, I'm going back inside. I don't have anything on me at the moment to be able to use if I need to. So I'm going back in. But at Legacy, I know that if I were to walk outside, there's going to be at least one, either shamed either you, or there's going to be one of the security guys that's going to be out there and, watching me walk to my car or watching me walk back from my car. And then if there's nobody else in the parking lot, they just head back in and they walk in behind me. So you guys have done a great job, not only with making everybody feel welcome, but making everybody feel safe. And that's huge because it gets pretty dark out there, but
big parking lot.
It is a huge parking lot. So you guys done a really good job about not only the welcoming aspect of it, but making everybody feel safe.
Yeah, I know when I went out to go to Dale Jr. to go to the Christmas party, and I was parked up there by the tree, and I left and I come back, and it was already busy. I mean, the parking lot was full. So I get back and, oh shit. I was like, oh damn, I ain't got nowhere to park. And I parked all the way. Oh, I had to go all the way around the back, down in the bottom. I was down in the damn woods, parked in the woods. I was like, that's pretty awesome, man. I mean, that's cool, man. That's people supporting the community, supporting a great event. So.
Absolutely. So Jared, what was it like for you with X1015 and getting prepped for this event leading into it?
So the first thing we had to do is plan out when we were going to get there because we had another event that morning. So for me, it would have been very difficult if I had gone from that event in the morning straight there at noon when they were getting started. So I actually didn't show up until 5. So my apologies to the other bands that played outside. I didn't get a chance to see you. But I did speak with Andrew, who was cleaning up outside right after the last band finished outside. And I asked him how everything went, and he was so pleased with how the outside performances went because during the Jambacue, there was a few hiccups, a few technical issues, and he stressed a little bit about it. But this time, he was like, everything went great, didn't have any problems. We were great. All the bands did great outside. So even though I didn't get to hear them, Andrew said everybody outside was great, and I believe it. And then the shows. The concerts that we've done at Legacy in the past, I know that the stage setup is always top notch. The sound is always top notch. So I didn't have to worry about that on the inside. I know you guys always do a killer job. So when I got inside and the first band we heard that night, I think from the inside was Hollow Memories. And they started off great. And, they were all decked out in their Christmas gear too, so they were in the spirit. And I was like, oh, we're in for a good night now, because that first band inside sets the tone, and they kicked it off great. And so I knew it was going to be fine. Just getting in touch with all these bands that are performing. A lot of the bands do a great job on their own promoting the show. I'm going to try for future events like that, try to track down every band that I can, get their social tags so I can tag them. If you got a Facebook or Instagram, send them to us so we can be sure we can tag you in the pictures and the videos and let you guys share them and stuff like that. Because a lot of times with bands, especially if they're pretty new, they may not have a social account set up yet, or they might only be on Instagram, or they might, if they're older, they might only be on Facebook and not on Instagram. And that's why I tell people, like, get on every platform. Get on every platform you can so we can tag you everywhere.
Yeah, and that was another thing I saw too, that bands were very active in that, and that's key to the success to it too. The bands being active and sharing and reposting and just getting the word out, and that was a big thing because I followed a lot of that. I pay attention to that. I see who's putting out and who's not and whatnot. But I mean, that's to me, that was the testament, is that everybody was bought into it to have a good time, and it showed, really did.
Yeah,
it was a big team effort by all the bands together. I saw a lot of the bands on their socials were saying, you can buy your tickets through me to get a discount. They were doing whatever they could to get people in the door, bring in donations. So it was a great effort by everyone involved to really get it going. The Jambacue this past October was great, and that's great because it was a showcase of the bands. And this one was great in a different way because it was everybody's coming together for a cause like Toys for Tots.
Yep.
So I think that's what motivated a lot more people too.
Absolutely. And I think it's awesome that there's going to be kids in the community that didn't think that they were going to wake up to presents on Christmas Day that's now going to wake up to presents on Christmas Day. So it's all about the kids. That was one of the things that I kept telling everybody. And I know that I tried to interview all of the bands. I don't think I got Defy the Tyrant. I think that was the only band that I didn't get to interview leading up to Toys for Tots. But that was like the number one thing. Bring a toy. It's for the kids. It's for the kids. If you say no to a kid, like, I'll throw punch you. Don't do that to kids. It's for the kids. So show up for the kids. And you get to see badass bands in the process. So I think that one band that always, and I've only heard them perform live once, and it was at the Pine Tree. It was in Wakulla, the Pine Tree. I can't remember the full name of it, but it was like a festival that they had down in Wakulla, and it was CJ and the Deadmen. And I remember, Mason had a broken collarbone and he was running around everywhere. So I was trying to keep my eyes on him because he's clumsy like I am. And I'm like, last thing I need is for you to fall on your collarbone and break it more. Like, let's not do that. And so I was keeping my eyes on him, and CJ and the Deadmen were loading up, and I kind of looked over my shoulder because I had my back to him, and I'm like, oh, young kids, this is going to be, this is going to be cute. And I turned around and started watching Mason, following him around. And then I heard them start playing, and I'm like, oh, that's got a good beat to it. And then CJ opened his mouth, and I went, whoa, hold on. And I had to, I literally stopped and made my son stand next to me. I'm like, don't move. I want to hear them. Don't move. And I was blown away by his voice. Like, it's very old soul, bluesy with a little Southern rock tone. Like, it's his rasp. Like, he really blew me away. And I got to catch the last little bit of their set when I got to Legacy. And they killed it. I mean, I literally have nothing bad to say about any band that took the stage that night. And you guys did such a great job with setting up the bands and knowing, the way that you had it flow to where you had from noon, you had the not so heavy bands leading into the heavy bands. That was, I think, the perfect transition leading into the night.
Yeah, that was kind of the design, kind of the way me and Andrew were talking about. And that was my vision of it, because a lot of your younger people, the older people are going to be out earlier. The people that want to listen to some blues, classic rock, country. And I really wish we could have, CJ and the Deadmen, because Shaggy went nuts over CJ. And he should, because they're a hell of a band.
Yes.
But I really would love, kind of like a loud ass country band. Me and Andrew talk about putting them on the inside stage, and I know some guys were like, "Wow, you put them in the middle of a rock show," but that was kind of the design a little bit. And I wish we could do a little bit more of that, and it could have been maybe thought about differently, because everybody participates in that show wants to be seen. All right. And putting weird shows in the middle of a bigger show, somebody's coming to see Tragedy, Tragedy's got their people coming. And then Defy the Tyrant. Well, you could put somebody, one or two guys in the middle that I've never heard of, and it may not even have nothing to do with rock. It may be like CJ or something, and it may be one song that they hear and they go, "Holy shit, man, these dudes are badass." Well, now you created another element to just a lot of support, and people. What I've noticed is people listen to, let's just say, Tragic or Defy the Tyrant or somebody, they leave and they don't support. The fans don't support. They support the bands more than they support the music,
Right.
So putting that kind of stuff in there is kind of what my vision was, to force you to kind of listen to it, even though you don't want to.
No, I loved it. I mean, I was outside when Loud Ass Country Band went on, and like they played a couple of songs. I'm like, these are really good songs they were doing there. So I walked back inside, but I like that idea a lot. I mean, just to stagger things up and almost force some of these people to watch these artists that they haven't seen before, waiting for the artists that they're wanting to see,
Yep.
I think that's a great idea, and I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I loved having them in the middle of the heavier sets. I think it was a great way to, break up the night a little bit. And, they had great energy and they got everybody singing and dancing, and they were a great placement where they were. So great job on that, Shane. I mean, they were great.
Yeah. And another thing with Stonehenge, I guess there's a post about it. I know everybody saw it, about the lady coming over with her 14-year-old daughter. And that's the one thing I always try to make them shows to be all ages, because there should be I don't like to have any kind of block on any children coming in there, because, who's the next guitarist coming up? The 6-year-old that comes out there, the 8-year-old. So, long story short, it was pretty neat to have them say the Stoneheads come out there and sing happy birthday to them for them. And that that's the stuff that I've always said, that's the little things that people get. That's the water cooler talk. That's a memory that kid will remember that for a long, long time, probably for forever. And whether Stoneheads makes it or they don't, if they make it, it's going to be even huge, even more.
Oh yeah.
So to me, that's what it's all about. And for you guys, Josh and the rest of the bands to be that way to people, that to me, that's what it's all about. Man.
I agree. And when we interviewed Alan Parkinson on Off the Record leading up for Toys for Tots, that's one of the things that he said. He's like, I bought these tickets because he went to this place, FSU Underground, this little dive bar venue thing. And he's like, I bought tickets to go see this band, and nobody wanted to go with me because they're like, oh, well, we don't know who that is and we don't care about that. But the band that opened up for this person that he was going to go see ended up being the White Stripes.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, at FSU Underground, this band that opened for this person that nobody wanted to go see. He's like, then fast forward, then another year, he's like, everybody's like, oh, have you heard of this band White Stripes? He's like, dude, I saw them when you wouldn't want to go with me to this, other show. And it really does prove that, you might not, you might hear a name of a band and go, oh, they sound stupid, but you hear them and you're like, okay, next thing you know, they're the next, Metallica, Pantera, they're the next, whatever. And I think that it's really awesome when you see bands that do take the time to, create that memory for that younger generation, like you were talking about.
Absolutely.
100%. And like Greg said, he said, super safe environment at Legacy. 100%.
Especially when he's there.
Yeah, I remember saying something to one of my coworkers, Justin, who was up there with me, how visible the security was. Like you could not miss them. They were there in the bright yellow shirts. If something happened and you needed one, they were not far away, and they were watching, making sure everybody was safe. There was a young lady in the pit. She was having fun, but she's a much smaller lady, and she got knocked down to the ground a few times. Nothing malicious, just it happens in the pit sometimes.
Right.
And they were like right there, making sure she got back up, making sure nobody was going to stomp on her or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they didn't jump in there and say, no, don't do that. They let her have fun, but just making sure everybody was safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's always somebody there, even though you don't notice who they are. That I've always have somebody um, at the facility if it's going to be a decent sized show. If there's something that I can handle, or I got another guy that handles it with me. But there are always some people in regular clothes that you don't never want them. The worst thing you do is have a security guard that everybody knows who the security guard is. It's the
Yeah.
ones that you don't see are the ones that you need to worry about.
Absolutely. And that's very smart thinking. I think if I ever got into a pit, I'm going to have Greg as my bodyguard, though, for sure. Because
I think he got the old Chinese kicking dude.
yeah, he did.
He put him up in the fence.
Yeah, he did.
But that's another thing is that, and that was started to aggravate me a little bit about that. You know, I mean, I like people have fun in the pit and whatnot, but sometimes things get a little ridiculous. So, I mean, at some point in time, that's when things got to get handled. You know, and sometimes security takes it a little bit too far. And I try to play a mediator in that a little bit, just let them have a little bit of good time. But when you start kicking in the air, that's going to be the end of that situation. So,
yeah, absolutely. I think Greg handled that for you really well.
Yeah. So I think a couple of people got him pretty good.
I believe I can fly. Told Jay she should have edited that over the video.
I should have, yeah. I actually posted the video and was like, hey, you know, if you want to be a dick in the pit, you know, and somebody reported it and I had to take it down. So, but it was there. He said,
snitches out there.
He said, I did what the security couldn't do. LOL. I got your back, Shane.
Thank you, Greg. Hey, man, and that's another thing is like this dying breed, Dylan and Greg and all them, they're huge supporters of Legacy, man, and good people, always looking out, always having a good time. And I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate all you guys, Josh, Andrew, I mean, all the bands, Jason Cup. I mean, the list goes on. Kurt Rogers. I couldn't have gotten in anything better, you know, in this industry. I've learned a lot of relationships in the automotive field. So now I have relationships in the automotive field and in the music industry. And it goes a long way, man. You're kind of in the people business and treat people with respect and they'll always return. You know, that's a big thing.
Kind of all the musicians like going there too, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's home. Like, I can go in a Legacy anytime I want to. I know I'm going to see the same friendly faces. And so we support that, man. All the musicians really like that. And we're all kind of close friends, you know, us older bands, and we just like going to have a good time. So we'll come out there and sing karaoke. And so you have all these, you know, singers from all these bands out there singing karaoke with these other, you know, singers, and pretty crazy. There's a lot of good singers, man. Like,
well, you know, and to roll into that, I mean, it's really funny because that is a lot of people come out there just to watch karaoke. Right. They have no intention to sing because the people that come out there to sing a lot. And if I sit back and I thought about it a couple of times, I was talking to Andrew. I said, "Damn, man." I started looking around. I said, "Damn, we got more artists in here, and not just in the rock community. I mean, you got Shar, you got Cat, you got Brandon McGee. I mean, and they use it as a practice facility, which is kind of cool. But it also draws people to come in at the same time. And it was really funny yesterday as I was dropping off those toys. I said, I'm gonna go to the Getaway, and eat me some lunch. I was by myself. It was like 2:00. I was hungry as hell. And I walk in there, and I walk in the door, and Steve turns around and looks at me, and he goes, "Damn, man, this is really weird." And I was like, "What's that?" He goes, "Renee was just here, and we were talking about you, and she just left 3 minutes ago, and here you walk in the door." Okay, so I sat down, and me and him was, you know, bullying around a little bit and eating lunch. He said, "I'm coming out to karaoke." I said I was coming out to karaoke. I talked to Shannon. Shannon said she didn't want to come, so I'm coming. He said, "Now I'm definitely coming because there's a damn reason why you walked in this door." So last night they showed up. He had some of his staff there, and we didn't have it wasn't huge busy, but it was pretty damn busy. Cat was there and everybody had a great time just before Christmas. But that's that whole supporting each other kind of thing, you know. And I made mention on it while I was on the PA. You know, this is what it's about. And me and him talked about, you know, look at all the venues closing down. Look at all the places that was to play that's not around no more, and even just small business in general. Everything's going corporate. So taking care of each other as independent businesses, as small businesses, and as citizens in town, taking care of those small business goes a long way. So that was pretty cool. That was a good time last night.
That is awesome. So before we go any further, we do have another special guest that just hopped on. I think you might know this one. I think you know this guy. I think you know this guy. We have Justin from Traffic.
I do not know that guy.
I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy at all.
So I asked Justin to hop in as another special guest for his perspective, also being one of the bands that played the show at Toys for Tots, on how he thinks it went, what his favorite highlights of the night were, and when you're going to come back and do it again.
Whenever Legacy wants us, honestly. If they want me to just come and show up and be around, I'll do it. Like, hearing you guys talk about how awesome and great the Legacy is like, I can't say enough good things about the Legacy. I've never felt more welcomed by a venue or by its staff, honestly. Like, just walking around, see Shane or Shaggy or honestly any of the bartenders, and they're just like, what's up? That's kind of like a very cool part of the scene, which I guess I can consider myself part of the Tallahassee scene now, but I can't say enough good things about the Legacy and the fact that we were able to stuff, not just like fill, but stuff 9 boxes for Toys for Tots was, just icing on the cake.
I think it was 6. I gave you the wrong number, Justin. So
Whatever. That's fine. 6, 9, it's all the same, really.
A bunch.
A bunch.
A ton.
Yeah.
Depends on if you're on top or bottom.
That is a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference.
So what was your favorite highlight of the night?
Ooh. I don't know that I honestly have one.
Really?
The whole night. Yeah, the whole night really was just like one fantastic happening after another. It was really cool. The dinosaurs was pretty hilarious. You know what I'm talking about.
I was told by Ian, he was like, "You got to go ask him about the penis dinosaur."
Is that the famous dinosaur?
I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Ask him about the penis dinosaur." And I was like, "If I go up to a giant of a man,
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
ask him about the penis dinosaur, and he knocks my teeth out, I'm gonna be very upset with you."
There was new one. So that story actually happened because Shane gave me the one that was at Legacy, and it was the Coccosaurus. And so one of Dylan's friends from This Dying Breed, one of Dylan's friends had a whole box of all these 3D printed, really cool stuff. Like there was like a sloth, and I got the bearded dragon. There's a ghost that's flipping you off, and I got one of those. And then there's another version of the Coccosaurus that's also giving you the double bird. So I had to get it. So it's a thing, and apparently now it's going to be the new thing of Off the Record. So I'm here for it.
A fun fact is, I'll say it again, but it was not white. Was it a white elephant? We did a Christmas thing. We did a Christmas party, and but you could exchange the gift. You could keep it or rob the gift from the other person. Anyway, long story short. So Bilbo's the one that gave the gift, and Michelle happened to be the lucky recipient of it. So she's pulling out the bag. I just happened to be looking over the side, and about the time I saw it, I seen the head of that thing coming out. And she didn't quite figure out what it was to begin with. I went, "Oh shit!" And she pulled that thing out. That look on her face, if I could have videoed it, was priceless, dude. And I went to rolling on the floor laughing. And so I put it up there on top of the soundboard for Shaggy. So when he came in, that's what all he saw was a big dick on that thing.
I think the first time I saw that thing was it October that we were playing there? It was definitely the show after we played in Jacksonville, and I saw that thing and I was enamored by it. I was like, I don't know what to think of this, but I know that I feel like I need this in my life somehow.
Yeah, so it's funny.
I think that was when we were at Legacy, and you and Rob were sitting in front of the bar, and Rob went to go lick it, and you had this look of on your face, and I snapped the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it sat right up there on the sound booth. I mean, hell, all year last year. I mean, it just kind of rode there. And I don't know what brought me to think about bringing it down to Jade and giving it to her, but I think there was a conversation about it. And I said, well, here, you want a little dick. Here you go.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. He had it, and I was like, oh my God, I've always wanted one of those things. And he's like, well, here you go. And I'm like, I got a cock.
Now the unofficial mascot of the Off the Record podcast.
It 100% is. And now it has a twin. I actually have it sitting here on my desk, and the other one is in my purse. Also, where's the oh yeah, my ghost. This is the ghost that we got.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, and then it's in my desk. The other two, I don't want to leave it out because I have children, so it stays in my drawer of my desk. But
Yeah.
but it stays there. If I need it, I can grab it. Just be like, look what I have. So it's definitely become an off the record mascot. I think I need to make a logo with it now. I don't know how well received that will be though. It'll be funny though.
Depends on the audience.
There you go. That's true. So I guess I know that I've asked Shane and I've asked Jared, but Justin, since you just hopped in, whenever you got on, Greg says, Jade, you keep a cock in your purse? I do. And it flips you off.
Where else is she going to keep it?
That's right. So whenever you guys got up and you guys played your set, you guys ended up doing, you started an original and went into Lincoln Park. That was, I think everybody lost their minds when you guys went and they started hearing the riff. They're like, wait, is that what I think it is? And I'd never seen more people come up to a stage quicker. What was the idea? What made you guys say, hey, let's play Lincoln Park in the middle of a song?
Well, if we're all honest, we all just wanted to be a Linkin Park cover band. We've been tossing around an idea of doing different cover for a little while, just to kind of change it up. Originally, I think a couple months ago, I told Josh that we should try and figure out how to do My December a while back. And then Brian, probably last month sometime, was like, what if we do One Step Closer? And we were like, why not? And then it was actually Andrew's idea to throw it in the middle of Bleed, and then it just worked really, really well. Honestly, the first time that we played it and did it right, it just felt incredible. Like I wanted to punch a hole in the wall, like a real Kyle.
It had a very good seamless transition from Bleed into One Step Closer. And then you guys pulled Kurt up on stage. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I only knew that I think he was going to be there. And I was like, screw it. I need to get on the other side because that guy throws down like 100% really hard. So I don't want to get in his way at all. But I needed a microphone.
Very
So
strong.
What's that?
He's really small, but he's very strong. Like he's small and
He
big
is.
at the same time. It's kind of weird.
He is. He's small and mighty. I feel like that's a slogan for something.
There you go.
I agree with this.
He's
I
pocket
agree.
size.
He's pocket size.
Yeah. I mean, listen, short jokes are great because I'm 6'8", so I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny because I only memorized the first verse because I knew Kurt was going to do the second verse. Then when we got out there and he started playing the riff, I'm like looking around, I'm like, oh shit, where's Kurt at? And like a dummy, I'm on the mic. Where's Kurt at? Like, he was on the side stage waiting for me, so I kind of ruined the surprise,
Yeah.
But I was kind of sweating. I'm like, I don't remember the second verse, so I really hope he's like in here and ready to go. This is gonna be bad.
You
If it just like
thing where
happened.
people, they like hand the microphone out to the crowd. Like, yeah, sing it.
Yeah, I probably would have done that, to be honest with you.
It would have been funny if Kurt was just like, I'm not going to do it. And then you have half the band on one side of the stage and Josh is just like, what's the rest of this song? I don't know.
He walks halfway up and then turns around and leaves.
That's more of a Kurt thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is more. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Cover went over really well.
It did.
They got people that were sitting down in the back, up front.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I guess we got to do that every show now.
And that picture you took, that was not only a huge testament to Tragic playing, but how many people were at the Legacy and stayed all night. And that was an insane pic that you guys posted up on your social with the crowd like that. You're like, I need to get a pic, and then you see everybody like, and I'm sitting there in the front like, I'm getting on video.
Mhm.
So it was a really good night overall, and I think that it's definitely a show that people are going to talk about for a while. And I know that with This Dying Breed, I think it's a perfect shot, but that's just my opinion. And I got a clip of a video where it was Nick and Greg, and they were standing back to back while they were playing. And then you see Dylan just kind of walk up, and he just kind of gets in the middle, and they're just like in the moment. And that was an amazing clip that I got. And This Dying Breed killed it too. Like, hats off to them, because every time they go on stage, they throw down and they get everybody like in the pit. Like, if you want to get in the pit, This Dying Breed is the band to go get in the pit too. Like 100%.
They'll get in the pit with you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hats off to all the bands, honestly. Like I remember walking on stage and be like, everybody that went ahead of us, we have to go just that much higher.
Yeah.
And I certainly hope that Defy and Core felt the same way, like after watching us and just being like, well, we got to top it somehow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing, because I don't remember who I was talking to. Maybe me and Andrew was talking about it, or somebody else. We were talking about, and the cool part about it is all the bands that are playing, every bandmate's watching the other band, and it puts a little bit of pressure on them, because me, or most generally the crowd that doesn't play in the music, you don't know when y'all screw up, but y'all do, and so does other bands. So that's kind of a neat aspect too. That makes everybody elevate just a little bit more. They don't want to make them step in front of their peers. So like, it doesn't make a difference anyway. But
there was a couple bands that were not booked on the show that were just there for the show and to support. I saw the guys from Falls Chase were out there, repping everybody, and that's something you love to see. That's part of the community that has been cultivated with Legacy and the rock scene in Tallahassee.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So coming from the radio aspect, would you say that the Tallahassee music scene is making a huge comeback?
It's on its way. Yeah, for sure. Because there's a lot of bands that for the longest time, like if they got booked to a show, they would do their show and then they would go home. They wouldn't promote it. And now maybe it's because there's like a mix of younger bands that are coming up that are getting really heavy in the social game and like pushing it out there. And now, like a lot of the other bands who are a little bit more seasoned, as was said, not older, but seasoned, it's like everybody's learning from each other, like the more experienced bands are learning some of the newer promotional tactics that the newer guys do. And then the newer guys are learning like what it's like to be a musician, what it's like to perform in front of a crowd and be on the road and like showing up for sound check on time. Important things you got to know when you're doing a show, and like knowing how to do a sound check, because a lot of these guys that are especially younger, they've only done shows in their garage or their basement or whatever. And
right.
Legacy has been a place that a lot of bands have done their first show, and so they're learning what it's like to be on, and they're getting to sit under the learning tree from some of the more experienced bands who are in turn getting a little shot in the arm about seeing the younger rockers out there doing their thing and picking up some tactics from those guys to help promote their shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's
what a weird concept, showing up to soundcheck on time.
Well, that's a great segue into what I'm fixing to mention, and I'm fixing to probably put you on the spot, Jade, and probably Andrew too, because me and Andrew's already talked about it. Hey, hush. We're going to, in the middle of January, we're going to host that round table /
Yes.
Damn blank. So what do we call it?
The seminar.
Seminar. There we go. So Jared, I'll get with Ian. We'll get this thing kind of going. But Justin said it best. Justin said it, and Jared said it too. Is getting these young guys, and I think the young guys can help the older guys too. I think there's some stuff that the young guys are doing.
Oh yeah,
older hats can pick up and you know.
Season, yeah.
But
Like a chicken wing.
Season. I understand. Salt and pepper. So I think that's going to be something that we really need to shout out and do next month. It's not that it's going to happen. It's going to happen somewhere toward the end of next month. So I've already got some of that stuff, and me and Andrew need to sit down and kind of polish it up. But we need to do that. You know, the Stoneheads, all these college bands, and really get this thing going. And it does, and it opens it up for these young guys to learn how to get the hell off the stage. Me and Cup talked about it. You go to these big shows, and they give you 8 minutes to get the hell off the stage. If you don't get off the stage, they're throwing you and your shit off the stage. And especially on festival style. So it's something that they need to learn and need to hear from you guys, these seasoned guys. So, and then, like I said, they can say, hey, well, you guys need to start doing this. I just think it'd be a great topic and it'd be a great environment.
Then a seasoned guys be like, you don't tell us what to do.
I think that
no, it is.
Well, it is
like intimidating the first time that you do like a festival type atmosphere, and you're trying to figure out like where you are in the whole scheme of things, and you're trying to do the right thing. And even the best, bands with the best of intentions, they'll find something and either or step on somebody's toes or take too long to get off stage, or it doesn't have to be pretty getting off stage. You clean it up in the back. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like Greg just said, Gila networking, is that right? Gila networking Kings of Tallahassee. I mean, admittedly, I'm terrible at networking. And I've been doing this 25, 26 years now. So, I mean, everybody can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
It's you have to have that sense of community. And I definitely feel like Tallahassee's got that for sure.
And you got to have an ego check too. You got to have an open mind and don't put barriers up. You know what I mean? Like everybody's doing this for the same reason. Everybody's doing it because they love the music and they love performing. Right. And if you can get better by listening to advice from someone, why not take what they've got to say and then work it into your routine and see if it works for you, and if it doesn't, just don't shut people off like that, because then you're never going to learn anything. You're never going to improve. And especially for a lot of these younger guys, they get on the stage, they play their first big show with a big crowd, like an outdoor festival, and they see thousands of people. Some crumble, they get shocked and they forget what they're doing. They take too long between songs, and then all of a sudden you had a set that was 4 or 5 songs, and now you only got 2 or 3 because you wasted too much time.
Right.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Look at Stonehead's Locals Only show, first time on a stage. First time in that setting, if I remember correctly, on the Locals Only show. 2 months later, 3 months later, they're playing at that show. That's probably one of the bigger shows that they played at too. So that's a testament to it. And they got the fast track learn too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I feel like the egos thing, like that, music has a way of kind of weeding that thing out. It definitely in Jacksonville, definitely in Tallahassee, I'm sure. Like if you have an ego in any way, shape, or form, like it doesn't matter if it's one person or the entire band, you will be weeded out. Like you will not be there long. It doesn't matter how good you are, because right. I mean, where are you? No one's going to want to work with you, and it just weeds itself out. But there are ways that you can avoid doing that. I mean, you can tell yourself, I'm the greatest of all time in your bathroom. That's fine. You can tell your bandmates you're the greatest of all time, but don't do it at a show. Shake hands, kiss babies, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think that's something that if more music scenes in other communities did, I think it would be helpful just across the board, because a band from Tallahassee might go to Texas and play in San Antonio. Well, so when that happens,
spoiler.
Well,
Sorry.
so
No, I mean, to go with what you're saying, like when we played El Rocco with that band from Brunswick, Sunbreak, they were great. They were fantastic. And kind of to your point, there are some the other locations that are just fabulous. I've been very fortunate. I've never had a bad experience at any different city that makes me say like, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's definitely like when you guys played that acoustic show in Savannah. You guys.
Super awkward.
But see, you might have thought that it was awkward, but everybody said you guys did great, and you checked your egos at the door.
yeah. Well, I mean, it was fun. I mean, that's what we go on stage to do, is to have fun.
Absolutely.
If everybody likes our music, great. But first and foremost, we're there to have a good time. That's why I appreciate Dennis, drummer for Defy. I mean, every day it's just a good time. No one's going to have more fun than me. All right, let's figure it out. But it's very easy to have a good time at these Tallahassee shows. So
Yeah, absolutely.
If I ain't said that once, I've said it 1,000 times. You're either going to go to be a rock star or you're going in to have fun. And if you're not having fun, then why the hell are you doing it? Number two,
right.
as a venue owner, I can promise you douchebags will be and egos will be checked at the door because I don't put up with it.
Right.
I've seen it.
You can walk in the door with your chest poked out. I'm gonna pop it. It don't matter. I don't have to have anybody in there. So I mean, those. You're right, Justin. They'll weed themselves out pretty quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or try and throw around a barrier for some reason.
Yeah.
That too. Greg said, on the ego topic, though, there is a certain amount of friendly cockiness between the bands where someone will say, let's see you follow that. And it will absolutely light a fire in your ass to put the best show on that you ever have. I feel like, and then it kind of cut off.
That's needed.
The rest of it, I feel like that's needed, LOL.
Iron sharpens iron, as they say.
Right. Yeah.
There's always some.
See, I don't see that as like cockiness or anything. I feel like that's just like friendly competition, like that's just kind of like
that's part of it.
Yeah.
It just like, yeah, we're just setting the bar a little higher for you. That's all. We're just making your day a little harder. And I appreciate that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
If you've been in one band, you've been in all the bands because we're all like broke comedians, just really bad comedians that play good music.
Right.
So it's always
we're just not funny
after dick joke. It's honestly more like who can tell the better dick joke. You know what I'm saying? That wins it all.
Well, I won. I got the Caucasaurus.
Yeah.
Well, I do know this part of it though. I have to say that on this end of it, looking into it, all the bands I feel in Tallahassee have very good relationships amongst each other.
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive, true, really. I mean, whether it be This Dying Breed or Defy the Tyrant, I never heard anybody say anything negative at all. So it seemed like they want to help each other, and that's a testament too. It is a small community. It isn't like it's a big town like Jacksonville or whatnot, but it is. But it's still you always have those assholes that want to make some slick comment, but to what Greg said, I saw like technicians in the automotive world. They talk trash amongst each other all the time. That's just part of life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, even Jacksonville's scene. It's a large city in Jacksonville, but even the music scene is really it feels really small.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, and I think that's something that anybody from the outside that's not in a band looking in is you do see that camaraderie between the bands. You see I don't know how many times I saw Defy the Tyrant and Tragic hanging out and they were doing nothing but laughing, and then they get up on stage and they kill it and they come off and they give each other high fives and it's that type of community. And I think that anybody that goes to a show at Legacy to see any type of local show that, for example, the Legacy had like a Toys for Tots, it literally nothing but smiles and people having a great time. Yeah. And I think that you having a seminar that is kind of a knowledge network of sharing information and, hey, I did that and this was the mistake I made, so don't make this mistake. I think that's going to be huge.
Well, not just that; it's just going to be the venue side too. You know, I mean, people, me and Josh actually had this conversation before. Is that these young guys they looking for the dollar or chasing the dollar, and whether it be core or tragic, defy the tyrant. A lot of these you guys, they're original music. You just don't get shit for it. You beat your head up against the wall to get into places to be able to play to showcase it, but there is an alternative to that, and there's me and Andrew's working on something with that too. And there's what we always said is you can be in a box, and if you're in a box, you're never going to learn if you don't step out of it. And sometimes you got to take risk. And what's that one thing that you do, or the one thing that you say that blows the whole thing up? There's always one little silly aspect to it. So like the seminar, or whatever you want to call it, I think that's just an open forum. I just think I want to be a group of people with some food sitting there, and if people want to have some drinks, sit around and have a social hour, and everybody have a mic, and it's not formal. It's not this guy's got to say everything or this guy is everybody, and to openly and tell people what's going on. Because I'll be honest as a venue owner on the exact reasons why we do what we do. So when you go into Jacksonville or somewhere, now you have a little bit better understanding what's in front of you and why this happens the way it is. Because the venue side is tough too, and I can only imagine the band side.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you let me know what Off the Record needs to do, and I got your back.
Yep.
You just tell me where to go, what to do, and when. I got you.
Next month.
Let's do it. I'm down. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys hopping in Off the Record. And Justin, thanks for joining, even if you were late. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Typical rock star.
Yeah, typical rock star, just hanging out on his vacation, checking in from the hotel room.
Well, I really appreciate you hopping in. And Jared, Shane, thank you guys for joining and talking to us about Toys for Tots. I'm so glad it was such a big hit, and that you guys, overall, it was an amazing event, and I can't wait to see what other big events you have coming down the line.
Well, thank you guys. And thank you to all the bands. Seriously, I appreciate everything everybody's done out there, and I appreciate all the fans. We will do it again in 2025, and that's probably not going to be the only big show. So,
hell yeah, I'm
let's
down.
enjoy the new year.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jared as well, man. I've been playing in this scene since I was 18, so I've seen X here dominant. I've seen X go away, so it's really cool to have Jared and Ian Ian, and it's cool to have Ian in that pocket too, because Ian's been in the bands. He's he knows what's going on and what all needs to be done and the help we need. So huge shout out to X too for jumping on these shows and help promoting. It's awesome. You kind of need that, We had it years ago when X was really pumping it, and the scene was huge and alive, and so it's good. I really appreciate Jared and that. Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to Ian. For those of you who don't know, former bass player in Defy the Tyrant. Occasionally he'll jump up on stage and sing and lose his voice like he did the other night.
Yeah.
I'm making fun of him because when I saw him last on Friday, his voice still had not returned. So I'm making fun of him a little bit for that. Yeah, I mean, he's big in the scene, and with him coming on as being a sales rep, he's got those connections to reach out to guys like Shane and Andrew at Legacy to help get us on. And like the Rock Station X has been a great station for many years, but during the pandemic, there were budget cuts everywhere, and unfortunately, a lot of local people lost their jobs. And now that we're, clawing our way out of that, and they're able to put some more local people back on the airways, like I'm all about being involved. If I can help, I want to be there. So I'm glad we can partner up with guys at Legacy to showcase all these great bands that are making their way through Tallahassee.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking awesome. Strictly from someone who, like in Jacksonville, there's not that radio representation of these shows at all. So it's kind of foreign anymore now that we go to shows and we see, X is there, and it's a fairly regular thing. So I'm trying to adjust to that a little bit, but it's an incredible thing when you guys are there, and the support is definitely appreciated.
Anytime we can help, we try. Shameless plug for all the bands out there that are watching. when I do a Welfare Wednesday call, send in your goddamn talkbacks so you can promote yourself, okay? Because sometimes I'll get like flooded with them, and then sometimes I won't get any of them. And I'm like, I know there's a show this week somewhere. There's got to be something happening. So
Yes.
send those in so you can get your free promo. Like some bands took, I forget the guy's name, but he's in like 4 different bands because it's the same guy every time. And he's like, hey, my band, blah, blah, blah. I was doing a show this week at so-and-so. And it's like, it's a different band he mentions each week. And I'm like, all right, dude's
Probably a drummer.
He's doing the hustle.
Probably is a drummer.
It wasn't Seti, was it?
It was Bodie. It was Bodie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, one week he mentioned, was it Palace Rats, I think? Was he drummer of Palace Rats? I'm not sure. But then one week he was like, Seminole Uprising. We're doing a show here. I'm like, okay, brother, how many bands are you in? All right, let's play it.
That's awesome. So you heard it from Jared himself. Send in your talkbacks.
Yes, we get them. Send them in, and even if it's not a Welfare Wednesday and you just want to send like a thought, it doesn't even necessarily have to be anything. Just be like, hey, this is so-and-so from whatever band, and I want to hear blah, blah. Just do a song request or shout out somebody or whatever. No, I will not be there on Christmas. I'm off the next few weeks. So there is no welfare on Christmas except for the toys being delivered from Legacy for Christmas. That's more welfare we're giving out this week.
I like it. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on Off the Record and talking about Toys for Tots. And Justin, get back to your vacation. Have fun. And we'll see you guys at the next Legacy show. So you guys got to be there.